Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for what is going to be another jam-packed daily cryptocurrency market update. And if you are new around here and finding yourself on my channel for the first time today, don't forget to go and check that subscribe button out, because I drop an update just like this one around 1 p.m. UK time every single day to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but also the broader market. It's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. We've got some really interesting stuff to get into. Before we get into it all, though, I do just want to update people on the Coinbase outage. Coinbase experienced an outage. Certainly this morning for me here in the UK, it was about 4 hours or something along that kind of time frame. However, they are now back rocking and rolling, and there is no need to panic. Your funds are safe. I actually think Coinbase is probably the best centralized exchange that there is, and it's a regular occurrence, but they are now back. Just to get out of the way, I've had lots of messages, but just to kind of put people's minds at ease. But we have a lot to get into in this video. We're going to be kicking the video off with looking at Bitcoin technically, and reiterating our technical stance that we believe it's going higher. Certainly from a technical point of view, we will be looking at how we are seeing some of the largest banks in the world, across the world, actually buying Bitcoin and holding the ETFs. Just yesterday, and we've covered quite a few of these up to this date, we had the Bank of Montreal, which is Canada's fourth largest bank, actually buying Bitcoin. And we also had, I think it was Switzerland's largest bank also announcing, so Swiss bank UBS, the largest bank in Switzerland, disclosed it holds shares of BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF. Everybody is buying Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be looking at that, supporting technically as a fundamental reason why we think Bitcoin's going higher. And then we're going to be doing something very interesting that we don't see many people doing, and that is looking at the United States ISM Purchasing Managers Index. Now, what is that? Well, it's a monthly indicator of US economic activity based on a survey of purchasing managers at more than 300 manufacturing firms. It is considered to be a key indicator for the state of the US economy. Now, this lines up perfectly with the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory. And if this is heading in the direction I believe it is after having now bottomed, this is going to see Bitcoin do quite well. This also matches up very nicely with the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory and also global liquidity, which we'll talk about to kind of concrete people. We like to give that macro overview on the markets. If we get Bitcoin right, if you get the macro markets right and the macro trends, you'll do very well. All you've got to do is invest in the right things, essentially, and not try and think that you're smart enough to time every top and every bottom along the way in what is a bigger uptrend. You won't do it. I can almost guarantee that. And I know plenty of horror stories in regards to people that simply haven't done that. Also got some interesting news in regards to inflation and coffee now being taken out of it. Very interesting. Then we'll look at, obviously today you got PPIs and tomorrow you got CPIs. And then I want to talk to you about meme mania that I think is coming on the back end of what we saw with GameStop, what we're seeing with AMC. The same people that caused that whole Wall Street bets, mania, meme coin craze have just reappeared, and they've already started to pump GameStop and of course AMC. And I do think technically there's merit actually for a number of meme coins out there to do quite well. And you need to leave your biases aside when it comes to investing in meme coins. I think fundamentally a lot of them are complete garbage and don't even deserve to be invested in. But it's not about what I think. It's about what the market thinks. And where there's an opportunity and markets are full of them, you leave your biases at the door and you potentially take them. But that's not financial advice. So let's kick things off. Let's just reiterate what we have been looking at and following for Bitcoin. This is a technically beautiful chart. It's very, very compliant with traditional technical structure, whether it be the inverse head and shoulders here, whether it be basic stage analysis or Wyckoff's market cycles or Dow theory or certainly Charles Dow's theory on market cycles. This was your base. This was your point of breakout. It was all backed up on volume, which we don't have on the chart currently. Actually, we can pull it up. You can see we even had your divergences here, which we no longer have, all this breaking on volume. And then you've very much made that target. You've now set up what is a broader head and shoulders, and you're consolidating around all-time highs, and you are, in my opinion, on your way to $151,000. Now, there's lots of things across the board that we've looked at that support this. We're bullish on the stock market, and ultimately Bitcoin is in an uptrend against that. And we've looked at what we believe is coming for the dollar, which is the kind of anti-risk category, if you will, on the back end of proliferation. We spent quite a bit of time talking about that in yesterday's video. So there's lots of things backing up technically what we're looking at here. We get constant news, or we are getting constant news at the moment, that we're seeing some of the largest institutions in the world all ape into Bitcoin. Okay. And if you understand portfolio management, you want to be diversified. This is where this saying alpha when it comes to a portfolio comes from, because you lower your risk. If you have uncorrelated assets, you're going to, in many cases, benefit greater. And when things come down, because of the uncorrelation, you're actually going to not take such a harder hit. So diversification is a crucial part of a portfolio. Not mine, because I'm all in crypto, basically. I do have some assets elsewhere. But we're getting news that the Bank of Montreal, which is Canada's fourth largest bank, just disclosed Bitcoin holdings, and also UBS, which is Switzerland's largest bank. This is, a very common theme throughout. So there's fundamentally every reason to expect Bitcoin to go higher, and also technically we've got merit for it. If we dive down to the smaller timeframes, Bitcoin very much just in a flag-esque structure. It really needs to find its kind of feet here. We can remove what we did think was an inverse head and shoulders target. There's a lot of kind of reasoning why I think crypto isn't too far off bottoming at all. If I look at Ethereum, this is a very textbook sort of flag-like structure. You're kind of hammering out the lows here. I do think you are looking at a potential reversion. We'll come on to altcoins in just a second, and of course total too. I think this is a potential bottoming structure that we're seeing. You're sort of squeezing a little bit within this. I do think this stands a good chance to break into the upside. So I don't think it's going to be too long before Bitcoin gets rocking and rolling. Talking about the kind of reasoning for Bitcoin to do well, this is the ISM Purchasing Manufacturing Index. It's basically a barometer for economic activity. And you can see this moves very much in a kind of 4-year-esque cycle. So you can see the lows here. And this is now upticking. And typically when this upticks, when it bottoms, Bitcoin or markets typically bottom. And when it upticks, Bitcoin typically does well during that time period. You can see this. So on and so forth. This is a very historically correlated thing. And this is because Bitcoin is really just a broader or a representation of risk, a volatile one. That's what we mean when we say high beta. If you overlay it on a QQQ NASDAQ chart or Wisdom Tree's 3x NASDAQ chart, they move in sync. Bitcoin will lose ground to the NASDAQ when the NASDAQ's going down, and generally risk is or stocks are, and vice versa. It will gain ground when it's going up. So this is another positive sign. This also aligns with technically what we're looking at, fundamentally what the story is, sort of macroeconomically, or certainly the ISM's version of that, and also global liquidity, and what we're looking at for total 2 and all these other things. So we are absolutely massive bulls, and we have been really since the bottom of the market for Bitcoin at 15, 16K. Some of the few people making those calls. In regards to macro markets, today we've got core PPI. It's going to be very interesting. You had unemployment claims, actually, I think, for the UK. Came out kind of as expected. And tomorrow you've got CPI. Now, I don't think inflation's a problem. I think we've had a strong dollar at the same time that inflation's really just been going sideways, not up. You can cherry pick, but broadly when you look at CPIs and things like that, which we know is manipulated, but that's the figures that they go by. We also had news that the BLS is removing coffee prices from CPI inflation data. And obviously coffee's done very well. It's come back down quite heavy. People getting quite worried about coffee. I'll just show you actually the kind of journey that coffee's been on. We'll use this. You can see coffee really got hit quite hard recently, but it's doing quite well. You can see clear break. Could just be coming back for a retest. So I think inflation is a massive issue. We're going to get more clarity on this very soon. In regards to CPI and PPIs, it's all about watching the dollar, waiting for the broader progression of what I believe is a downtrend for the dollar to take place. And also the vice versa of that is for Bitcoin and crypto to continue. We've already looked at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still that tide that rises and sinks all ships. Given a few, we've got multiple more reasons to be bullish on it. So it's just about being able to ride the trend and being in the right sector. Now, the right sector for me, I'm sure you all saw OpenAI's sort of unveilment yesterday in regards to what they're now doing. The world we're moving towards is one that's very compute heavy. Compute is going to be like the oil of tomorrow. And actually, we are now and are enabling decentralized compute systems to compete with the centralized ones. And there's obvious reasons why you'd want to do that. This is one of the biggest narratives I think there is, period. I think it's even potentially a bigger narrative than money itself. which sounds absurd, but in the future that we move towards, where money plays a different role to how it does today, this is where you want to be. This is the big sector for me. But there are other opportunities, such as, and I hate to say it, meme coins. So this is the account Roaring Kitty. Who doesn't love cats? And he has just returned after being dormant. And I think this was one of the early individuals that basically called out all the short squeezing that took place, which led into the likes of, and we're seeing, if we look at GameStop. So he has returned. I don't know when his first tweet was. Yep. So this, I think, was his first tweet since it all. Somebody that was very early on it. And just showing you this because it's interesting. I am personally going to be buying a couple of meme coins. It'll be a small part of my portfolio, but I let my biases in the last market. I don't see the fundamental value in meme coins. What I do see is the hype and the social value in them. And that's that. You know, it's not about what I want. It's about what other people want. I made a video back in 2020 saying, don't buy meme coins. They're garbage. Why would you do that? Dogecoin is listing all the fundamental reasons why Dogecoin wouldn't do well and ignoring technically what I was seeing. And it went on to be one of the best performing assets. I'm not going to miss out on that opportunity. And I'm in this position, not going to steer other people away from that opportunity. And remember, none of this is financial advice. We're just giving you our take on everything. So since this, coincidentally, perhaps GameStop has absolutely gone crazy and is going even higher. Since this bottom here, there'll probably be a bullish divergence on this, I would bet. Wow, we've got a number of RSIs. No. Slight, which just shows you that a trend is subject to change for anybody who's unfamiliar. It's not just these guys, it's also AMC, which technically you could have been long on. These people also had cross-contamination in regards to Wall Street bets, in regards to meme coins, which have now woken up. This is Shiba, which has just woken up. This is likely going to go higher into new all-time highs, in my opinion. And then you've got things like Dogecoin, which, let's just remove whatever we had drawn. We did have a target for Dogecoin that got hit. Not the best chart in the world. Let's just use cryptos. This essentially is just repeating. And you've had that first sort of waking up, if you will. And it's likely going to be driven by the same people that drove everything last time. So there are opportunities. I will be sharing at a later date the one meme coin. We'll share a meme coin that we're going to choose based on technical significance and market cap and things like that. But I do think a meme mania is resurging in the context of the market is a bullish one. Hate or love me for saying that. I'm indifferent. But it is certainly interesting that the same people that sort of caused all the short squeezing and the pumping of everything last time, and there was this narrative of this is for the people, even though I can guarantee it was institutional and sort of the cartel that were behind potentially the whole thing. Even though it was sort of the narrative was we're getting back at Wall Street by short squeezing them, causing them to lose lots of money. I'm sure there was lots of them that actually made lots of money on the back end of it as well. But that is really all from me. A lot that we've covered. We've looked at technically why we're bullish at Bitcoin, on Bitcoin from a number of different aspects. And these are just a few. We've looked at the week ahead, and I kind of wanted to add this section. I'm going to do a longer video technically sort of going into meme coins later on, but I kind of wanted to sort of just mention that the same people that were behind what happened last time are now resurging, and it is certainly interesting. And there is technical merit, I think, for a number of altcoins. I hate to say it, but it's true. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you, ladies and gentlemen. If you've enjoyed this content, a like is always appreciated. So as a comment, I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next.